When you think about the way we grow up, one of the things that stands out is how little real truth we are ever told about our own bodies. You sit through health class, you hear rumors in the locker room, you get fed images from culture, you pick up on jokes, comparisons, whispered conversations, and what you're left with is a confusing and often damaging set of beliefs about something that shouldn't be a mystery at all. The reality is that when it comes to your penis, no one hands you an honest manual, and because of that most men carry misconceptions, insecurities, shame, and unrealistic expectations for years, sometimes for life. That's why this conversation matters, because it's not just about anatomy, it's about identity, self-worth, and the way you show up in relationships. The first truth you need to take in is that your penis is not a measure of who you are as a human being. Somewhere along the way, culture tied the idea of manhood to size, performance, or stamina, and made it seem like what happens between the sheets is the ultimate scoreboard of your value. That's not only wrong, it's destructive. Who you are is not determined by inches, by lasting time, or by how someone else compares you to a movie they saw. Who you are is determined by your integrity, your kindness, your consistency, the way you keep your word, the way you treat others. When you tether your self-worth to something so narrow, so fleeting, you set yourself up for a lifetime of comparison and disappointment. Let this be the wake-up call to cut that tie, because your body part is not your identity, it's simply part of your human experience. The second truth is that your penis is not a machine. It is not built to work perfectly on command every single time. It is connected to your brain, your nervous system, your blood flow, your emotional state, and all the stress you carry. That means it reflects your health, your mindset, and your lifestyle. If you are exhausted, anxious, disconnected, or overwhelmed, your body will prioritize survival over sex, and you may notice it doesn't always respond the way you expect. That is not a sign of weakness, it is a signal. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you been frustrated with yourself when instead you should have been curious? What is your body trying to tell you? Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating in a way that supports your health? Are you carrying shame or anxiety that keeps you stuck in your head instead of present in the moment? Your body is talking to you, and learning to listen will change your relationship not only with yourself but with others. The third thing you need to know is that your penis is not just about you, it is part of intimacy, and intimacy is a shared experience. The pressure that so many men feel about performance is rooted in the false belief that they are the sole source of someone else's pleasure, that they have to carry the whole experience on their shoulders. But the truth is that connection in the bedroom is not a solo act, it's a partnership, and it's built on communication, presence, and trust. When you stop treating sex like a performance and start treating it like a conversation, everything changes. Your partner doesn't want a machine, they want a person who is there, engaged, responsive, caring, and unafraid to slow down, ask, and listen. The fourth truth is that your penis changes with age. And that is normal. Just like the rest of your body, it evolves. Erections in your 20s will not look or feel exactly the same in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. Blood flow changes, hormone levels shift, and your overall health plays a bigger role than you may realize. This is not something to panic about, it's something to respect. If you take care of your body, if you move, eat well, sleep well, and manage stress, you are also taking care of your sexual health. The biggest mistake is thinking you should be the same forever. You won't be, and that is not failure, that is life. The fifth thing is that your penis is highly vulnerable to shame, and this is where most men suffer in silence. Shame begins early. It comes from comparisons, from unrealistic expectations set by pornography, from jokes made in locker rooms, from messages that say bigger is better, or longer is more important. All of that creates a quiet but heavy weight. You start carrying it, you start doubting yourself, you start fearing exposure, and that shame eats away at confidence. The truth that needs to replace it is this: there is no universal normal. Every body is different, and difference is not deficiency. Releasing shame doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with awareness, with talking, with refusing to accept someone else's standard as your truth. You are not alone in feeling it, and you don't have to keep carrying it. The sixth truth is that your penis can act as an early warning system for your health. Men don't talk about this enough, but erectile difficulties can be a sign of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, or other underlying health conditions. Instead of hiding it or pretending it's not happening, you can choose to see it as a signal. Your body is telling you something important. Going to a doctor is not admitting weakness, it's taking control. How many men have ignored the signs because of embarrassment, only to find out years later that they could have caught a serious issue earlier? This is about more than sex, it's about longevity and quality of life. And finally, the seventh thing you need to know is that your penis does not define your masculinity. Being a man has never been about anatomy. It has always been about character. Masculinity is responsibility. Masculinity is compassion. Masculinity is discipline, integrity, courage, and kindness. When you strip away the noise of culture, the comparisons, the false definitions, what remains is the truth that your worth has nothing to do with this one part of your body. You are bigger than that. You are more powerful than that. You have always been more than that. When you put all of this together, what you see is that the story you've been told about your body has been far too small. It's time to outgrow it. It's time to stop letting shame, myths, and fear dictate your confidence. It's time to stop letting culture define your worth. Your body is not your enemy. Your worth is not in question. And your life is not measured by comparison. What matters is how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you decide to show up every single day. Your penis is not a measurement of your value as a human being, it's simply a body part, and when you stop tying your confidence to it, you free yourself from comparison and shame. Think about how much time in your life has been wasted on comparison. From the moment you were old enough to notice differences, you started absorbing messages. In the locker room, in conversations with friends, in the media, in the culture around you, you were told, sometimes subtly and sometimes directly, that size matters, that performance defines you, that your worth is somehow attached to this part of your body. Those messages get planted early, and once they take root, they grow into insecurities that can shape the way you see yourself. You start to believe that bigger is better, that longer is more impressive, that you are only enough if you measure up to some impossible standard, and that standard is rarely based on reality. It's based on exaggeration, on fiction, on the distorted images created by pornography. By jokes, by comparison. The truth is, every man is different, and there is no single measure of what's right or what's good enough, but the shame that grows from those comparisons convinces you that you are somehow lacking. That shame is heavy. It can show up in the bedroom, in relationships, in the way you carry yourself in daily life, in the way you hold back from confidence, in the way you overcompensate in other areas. You might not even realize how much it affects you, but it does, because when you tie your worth to something outside of your control, you create a fragile identity that can shatter any time you feel like you don't measure up. The reality is that your penis does not define you, your choices do. It does not measure your kindness, your resilience, your intelligence, your drive, your capacity to love or to lead. It does not determine the impact you have on your family, your community, or the people who love you. But when you forget this, when you hand over your self-esteem to a body part, you begin to shrink. You compare yourself to others, you fear rejection, you carry secrets, you avoid vulnerability. And what does that create? Disconnection. Disconnection from yourself, from partners, from real intimacy. Because intimacy requires confidence, and confidence cannot grow in soil that has been poisoned by shame. When you stop tying your confidence to your penis, you reclaim your freedom. You no longer walk into relationships afraid of being judged, because you know your value isn't on trial. You no longer approach intimacy like a performance test, because you understand that it's about connection, not competition. You no longer waste time measuring yourself against impossible standards, because you know there is nothing to measure. The freedom that comes with detaching your worth from your body is the freedom to show up fully as yourself, without fear, without apology, without the constant background noise of doubt. It is important to recognize where these beliefs come from. They are not natural, they are taught. They are fed by industries that profit from your insecurity, by peers who repeat the same myths they were told, by silence that keeps men from speaking openly about their experiences. If every man who carried these insecurities spoke them out loud, the shame would lose its grip, because you would realize how common, how universal, how untrue these fears actually are. But silence breeds shame, and shame thrives in secrecy, so the cycle continues until you decide to break it. Breaking it starts with awareness. It starts with questioning the thoughts you've carried for years. It starts with reminding yourself every single day that your value is not located in your pants, it is located in your character. Confidence comes from shifting the standard. When the standard is impossible, you will always fall short. But when the standard is authenticity, integrity, kindness, presence, you can rise every time. You can show up as a man who is not defined by one body part but by the whole of who he is. That is where true strength comes from. That is where real confidence begins. And that is what creates genuine connection with others. When you release yourself from comparison, when you stop measuring your worth against fiction, you give yourself permission to live fully, to love deeply, to stand tall, and to never again hand over your confidence to shame. Your penis is connected to your health, your stress, your sleep, and your emotions, so when things don't always work, it's not failure, it's a signal to listen to your body. One of the biggest lies men grow up believing is that their penis should function like a light switch, always on demand, always ready, always reliable no matter the circumstances. That belief creates a huge amount of pressure, and when reality doesn't match that expectation, shame shows up. You start to think something is wrong with you, you panic, you get stuck in your head, and the pressure only gets worse. The truth is that your body does not operate in isolation. Your penis is not separate from the rest of you, it is part of a system, and that system is sensitive to what's happening in your mind and in your lifestyle. If you are under stress, your nervous system is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline, and in that state, your body is not prioritizing intimacy, it is prioritizing survival. If you are not sleeping well, your hormone levels shift, your energy dips, and your ability to focus drops, and those factors directly influence your sexual function. If your diet is poor, your circulation suffers, and since blood flow is central to erections, that shows up in performance. If you are carrying unspoken anxiety, fear, or shame, your brain is distracted and tense, and you cannot expect your body to perform naturally under that weight. The point is, when something doesn't go the way you expect, it doesn't automatically mean you are broken. It means your body is trying to tell you something. Most men don't hear it that way, though. They immediately jump to judgment, they assume it means weakness, they spiral into panic about the future, and they make the problem worse by not understanding it. But if you could shift your perspective, if you could start to see those moments as signals rather than failures, you could begin to ask the right questions. Am I stressed? Am I sleeping? Am I taking care of my body? Am I carrying too much anxiety into the bedroom? Am I distracted, tense, disconnected from myself or my partner? Those are the real questions, and the answers to them can transform not only your sex life but your entire well-being.